Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is the 29th episode of the SuperNova Show! And I am your host, Colton Roberts, and I got the episode number right this week, 100% of the time, so that's great. It's not like we've been doing this 29 weeks. I should know this. And I even have like a calendar over here that has all the numbers on it. But guess what? I did it. It's been a good week. A very good week. Yeah, some interesting things have happened. We had Black Widow came out. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk some Schmodown with our resident Schmodown pro, Mr. Amaru Moses, and then the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson of the SuperNova Show, Mr. Robert Kastner. And then we're gonna talk Black Widow, season finale of Loki, and and then the Bad Batch episode 12. So yeah, this is gonna be pretty interesting. But I'm gonna go ahead and bring out Mr. Amaru Moses. What's up?
I'm tired. I've basically had nonstop days every day for the past I guess week now. Today was supposed to be my rest day or like chill day, and somehow I ended up being on streams all day helping test questions and not just sitting and watching whatever I want. So all good things, all very good things. Just I'm tired.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't really relate. Like, I don't really do a whole lot of anything. Like, now I did get a good surprise today. So, went to Barnes & Noble to pick up a Star Wars book and found another Star Wars book that wasn't supposed to be on the shelf until the 27th of the month. And it was on the shelf. So I went and picked it up because I was like, well, I should probably tell them just in case that, because, you know, Barnes & Noble is a pretty big company. They might have just made a mistake. So I was just like, okay. So I told them, they were like, ooh, let's check this. And they were like, yeah, it's not supposed to be out there. So the lady called her manager and was like, what do we do about all this? And they were like, okay, is it on the, what they call the SOS list? Which I guess if it's a book that they definitely aren't allowed to release early, they're like, no one in the public gets it. Apparently then they definitely can't sell it. But they were like, well, he called it. We're going to take all the other books off the shelf and we'll sell it to you. And I was like, yes. So I got it like 11 days early. So that was good.
That is a nice surprise. That's pretty beautiful.
Yeah, I was with my kids and I was like, I should probably be a good person and go tell them that there's a bunch of these books on the shelf. And then I was like, maybe I checked the website and yeah, it wasn't supposed to come out till the 27th. And I was like, okay, well, we'll figure this out. But yeah, so I did that. It was good. So how's One Gotta Stay going?
I haven't put it on, but I'm pushing it a week. I'm going on vacation the first week of August. And that's a week that normally the show would come out. So I decided, let me just push it this week. So I'll have a show before and I'll have a show the week after I get back instead of like a whole month being out. So just 3 weeks. I'm pushing this week's episode that's supposed to come out tomorrow to next week. Also, again, tired. So I don't mind pushing. I would like to relax, completely relax. Because I mean, doing a show on a stream is not like the worst of things, but as you know, it can be tiring.
Yeah, it sure is something. Like, I don't miss the trivia part of it. Like, me and Robert talk about it all the time. And like last week we talked about everything that's going on with him. And I was like, I don't miss that at all. Like, I don't miss studying. I don't miss, like I would spend like 4 or 5 hours a week studying actors and stuff. And I don't miss that anymore. It's really nice to just like, do other things.
And do other things besides watch movies for watching trivia's sake. Yeah.
Yeah, that absolutely. Like, I can watch movies because I like it, not because I have to. But yeah, like I'm glad you're doing well. I know life is exhausting. I'm sure you probably didn't think, oh, I'm gonna be off this summer, but I'm gonna be this exhausted. That's never what anyone wants. But
Well, no, but I should have thought about it because like all last summer, like the other reason I'm exhausted because I'm doing basketball camps, like 8 hours of basketball, 4 days a week. And I didn't do that last year. So the first year I did it, it was cool. I was able to do it, but I'm now 2 years older and a year in between. So that also comes in. And so my body is like, you're old now. So doing that and then mentally doing something exhausting, the combination is just like, I'm good, but man, I'm tired.
yeah, yeah, it's being an adult is hard. Like, man, like when you're like 17, 18 years old, you're like, yeah, I'm ready to grow up and be an adult. No, you're not. I'm
Nah.
30 years old and I am dread like I'm happy that I'm an adult. I'm happy that I have 2 children and a wife, but man, children have like this unlimited energy and they expect you to have it as well. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
yeah, no. But yeah, well, I'm so glad you're on the show. It's always great to have you, and I'm gonna move you to the back and call out Mr. Robert Kastner. All right. Hey, Robert.
Hola.
Hola. How you been?
I've been good. We don't have to stick on my introductions. I know schedules being what they are. We could just say, I'm doing well. To add to something last week, another match of mine came out with another road for me on the title. This is like 3 and counting.
Yay.
Yeah, I like it. No, it's good. I'd rather be on it than not on it, honestly.
Oh, well, better you than me, I will say. Better you than me, buddy. But all right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and bring Amaru back in there, and then we'll talk some Schmodown stuff, and yeah.
No rest for him in the introductions either.
No. Nope. Speaking of your road to titles and me testing questions,
yeah,
that's what I just tested.
Oh.
Your championship against Joe for Geek.
Oh,
and Autumn. So
look at that.
Have fun with that one.
Wonderful. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. All right. So Schmodown.
Yes.
So they revealed they're doing like I can't remember what the place is called. Something at the cantina.
Scum and Villainy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So they revealed on the 1st it's going to be Dan Murrell and Ethan Irwin. And then on the 14th, it's going to be Chandru and Mike. So that's really interesting that we've got that. And then last weekend we had Lightning Time. They beat Deception, which both me and Robert chose wrong here. Which I remember watching it last week, and I'm like, I am the curse.
Yeah.
Because we both chose Deception. And
Go
then
ahead and pick Merle. Go ahead and pick Merle.
Yeah, I'm going to. That's fine.
Yeah.
I don't mind.
And then it looked like Final Exam. I was like, oh no. Because we both chose Final Exam. And I was like, if Rushmore wins, I'm not making choices anymore. It's effective immediately. I'm just letting Robert.
It's a roller coaster. You got to ride it out, man.
I guess. But yeah, so those matches were really interesting. Like, I know a ton of people have already talked about the Deception. Like, I know Collins is a really good player, but I think he needs to be the B player on that team. Because like Marisol, she had the idea in the Star Trek round, and that messed them up. But I don't know. Like it's weird.
Can I call point of order?
Yes.
On 2 things. Even if they get that right on 2, they still lose by 1. So that's not really what the problem was, is that both Marisol and Collins don't apparently know that Menace to Society and Friday take place in LA.
That is what I caught.
Yeah,
I saw
that's
that
thing that I thought was interesting.
I saw the answers they put for that, and I was like, what just happened there? Y'all both missed that question? Okay. Yeah, sorry. And your second point of order?
That was the second one. The first one was that the Star Trek thing, while hurting because they did have the answer and they missed it, which was a very easy one for Lightning Time to get. It's really about the fact that they didn't get perfect rounds in the first. If they would have done that, then it would have been just fine.
They didn't even need to get perfect rounds though. It just they missed a couple more because I think Liz only had like 5, while Ethan went perfect. So it was still doable without a perfect round. Just the fact that both of them missed that one question at a time, kind of.
I think Liz went 6, so I think it was 15-14. Marisol also missed the same question Liz did about when Lego Batman movie came out.
Yeah.
It's a fair point. Yeah, I mean, if they don't go, I think if one of them goes perfect and they listen to Marisol on the Star Trek question, then it's a tied game, and then we'll see what happens in overtime. I don't know.
With Deception, I don't think there is a such thing as a B player. I think they're just both A players.
Yeah,
that it's one day. Yeah, if they don't go perfect, one day, one of them is going to do better, and any other day, the other is going to do better. It really is match to match. Yeah, like I think they're one of the few teams that there is not an A player on. There's not a B player on that team. It's just 2 A players that I unfortunately both caught like not bad matches, but both caught like low scoring for both of them at the same time, relatively, at least.
Relative. I mean, they're the best 1 and 2 team you'll probably ever see in existence in the Schmoedown, I would bet.
Yeah. All right. So I don't know. Maybe it's just me. So, like, one of the things I think is so funny about like swag. Have you I love their team names. Their team names are the best. It's final exam, midterm, and then pop quiz. Yeah. And I'm like, that's awesome.
It's a theme.
Yeah. No.
As someone who roots for a city where all the sports teams wear the same color, I'm all for, intra-faction names that match.
But like this week was really interesting. Like, I know I hate that Christina lost to Claudia Dolph. She did so well. Like, the third round killed her. The third round really killed both of them.
I mean, they were both not. I mean, when you only get 1 of 6 questions right in the third round between 2 people, it's not a good third round.
No, and she said it. She just was like, I've never seen any of those films. Like, and you can get hit with that because I know I've missed 2-pointers, period. Mm-hmm. And like that's the one thing. Like watching matches, I'm like, I just hope I don't get that rant that day where like the 2-pointer is the one out of 7 or 8 2-pointers I would miss. It's about the average. I get like 6 out of 7, and every once in a while there's a 2-pointer. It's like, fuck, it's just a movie I've never seen in my life. And then the 3s and the 5s are crapshoots sometimes. 3s are more of a crapshoot than you think. And just she got hit with all 3 at the same time. And there are days where I'm like, I really hope I don't get one of those days.
Yeah, and like she's such a cool person, and I don't think she won't get another match this season. And I hate that. Because we're ramping up on tournament time. And
yeah, with who the Stars have, unfortunately, I don't think so either.
And I really don't want her to go into the FCL. And I think if she doesn't, I think she'll get picked up somewhere. It would be a travesty if she didn't. But
I'm pretty sure you'll see somebody else in that household if FCL Cup's coming. I think it'll just be a switch off, and she won't have any issues with with that happening.
Yeah, because I don't want to watch the FCL.
I refuse. I haven't yet.
Yeah,
I shall abstain from commenting.
Oh,
yeah. I've watched 2 of their IG matches, and their players are not great. And I'm just like, I don't watch singles really. Like I've watched it more this season than I probably have in the last 3 years. But yeah, like because I have 3 people that I know who are in the singles division, so I watch every match that I can to see what's going on, and because of this show, so I know actually what's going on. But
let me just say that our eyes. There's only so much time in the day, and our eyes can be moved around to a myriad of different things. In terms of watching people answer trivia questions on the internet, don't you want to watch the best version of it? If you watch a crappy version of it, crappier version of it, you're settling like a lot.
yeah.
It's my opinion.
Now,
Fine if anybody else wants to.
Disclaimer: the views of Colton and Robert are all of their own, and I again am abstaining from comment.
Yeah. Yes.
yeah. I mean, I like the storylines in the FCO are the best, mainly because like the Schmoedown, they've suspended storylines until they have they go back to in studio. But like all the stuff with Fullerton Klaus and Booker T and Brad Gilmore is like the best. I'm like, I love it as a huge wrestling fan. Those are totally wrestling storylines. Like giving the belt up to someone else. Yeah, I like that. But yeah, so I watch it for that stuff. Like if I see something on Twitter that someone's posted that they think is funny, I'll get on Twitch real quick and watch just the story beats and skip the match altogether. But
that is a first I have heard. It's usually
It's usually the opposite.
Yeah, a few years ago, that's all I used to do when it was singles matches. Is I would watch to see if there was a story thing at the beginning, scroll through the match to see who the winner was, and then watch the story thing at the end because I hate singles that much because it's so I can't do it. But
You're like a person who watches the commercials only and skips past like
the
the
Super Bowl.
actual entree of what the shows are so that you can get to the next commercial.
yeah, okay, that's. But I enjoy the storylines more whenever than I do the actual singles matches. Whereas I can watch Star Wars and IG and watch the storylines because I like that, and I can actually like participate because I actually like those movies and like all that stuff. But I can never. No, there's not enough time in the day for me to do singles. Like, and I now I play along, and normally I'll get like 3 points in an entire game, and I'm like, woo, I got more than one. Other than that, can't do it. But
I'm actually the opposite. If I don't get a perfect round, I feel like I screwed up something terrible, honestly. But the FCL is like a double dose of things being worked out, right? It's people getting like the minors getting swings there so they can up their trivia know-how and talent there, while also the Schmoedown is using it as a way to recompense storyline options and see what works and what doesn't, and then see if they can maybe graduate that to the main league possibly. So it's a twofold type of working around league. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, and then of course Friday night there was a Schmoedown versus Liz Shannon Miller versus Mark Yodi Riley.
Mm-hmm.
So let's throw it back. Let's pretend it's Friday. Let's say. What do you guys think of? What are some predictions for that?
I mean,
again, abstain from comment.
Oh,
it's Liz, so
yeah,
kind of.
I just
kind of
figured
have
you
some
would say
insight. Kind of have some insight on what's going on for this match. So I'll let you all make your predictions.
I was gonna go with Liz anyway. I've just watched Liz play very well in a match, and I haven't watched Yodi play well in a match recently. So
Yeah.
That I'm just gonna go with Liz.
Yeah, I was also gonna go with Liz, but now I feel bad because the curse might activate, and then I'll feel bad because I want your faction to do well, Rue. But every time,
doing well. We are currently doing well.
yeah,
So it is not what it was earlier in the season. We're on a nice little run. So
yeah, and I just feel bad. Like if I'm like, ooh, I chose them, and the curse happened, and they lost. I'll be like, oh, that's on me, man. That's on me. But
The hat is an anti-curse charm, so you're fine.
Oh, okay. Good. But yeah, that's all I really got for Schmodown stuff. I'm trying to think.
Did you watch any of the other matches? Did you watch?
I was going to mention one reason I was thinking about whether Christy would get in the tournament, but the way Brittany Young played, like if she has the time and she said she wants to play, I feel like she should be in that tournament.
She should. Yeah.
For sure.
Like, I wonder, will Roxy do the dumb, like, I consider it the dumb thing of now that she has Jericho back, put him in the tournament so that
there's a 0% chance that Chris Jericho is in this tournament.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree, but if they're like, if they think, oh, him going through and it will get us more views or whatever.
Yeah, that's one side of it. He doesn't have the time. He doesn't care.
Have the time. No. Roxy is, I feel like, unless I'm missing somebody, which I don't think I am, it's Snyder, Janine, Jacoby, Brittany. Yeah. It's those four.
Yeah.
Like I don't see any other variation, especially with Andrico gone. It's got to be those four from the Stars.
Yeah.
Unless unfortunately Brittany can't, and then maybe Nick Harley gets it.
Yep. I agree with Rue.
Who's Jacoby's new team?
Nick Harley. Nick Harley.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then okay. Yeah. All right. Well, that's that's all I really got, and I know Amaru, you got to head out. So, do you have anything?
I would like to talk about Loki and Black Widow for a bit. That's why I said I can push for like another 10 minutes.
Uh-huh.
Ooh, okay, yes.
/TV.
Okay, so Black Widow. Hey, you out there? I know it's only been a little bit over a week, but Black Widow is out in theaters, or it's on Disney Plus. You know. Go watch it, and now come back, and now we're going to talk about it. So, what y'all think of Black Widow?
Black Widow was good. It was good. It was all right. Florence Pugh on screen, Black Widow was great. Florence Pugh off scene, Black Widow was okay. I gotta watch it again to see where David Harbour lands because I think he's great, but there were times where I was like, "You're a little much." I have it in like mid-tier MCU film. I will say the one cool thing I thought about it was at least for the first hour, maybe hour and 10, 15 minutes, I was like, this is the least MCU feeling movie I've ever seen. I think I'm watching just a movie that's not an MCU film. And I thought that was really cool, that it does not feel like an MCU film. But then and I actually think when Red Guardian came in, that's kind of when it was like, all right, we're back to MCU now. They're throwing the humor and stuff in it. But hugest takeaway, I am very happy we are getting Florence Pugh moving forward. She is a boss. She is an amazing actress, and she kills it as Yelena. 100% kills it. And dramatic, comedic, the mix, the everything. She kills every second she's on the screen.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with most of that. Like, me and Robert talked about it a little bit last week. Just a little bit. He asked me if I thought it was good. I said yes.
Oh, that part, yes.
And then he asked me if RDJ was in it, and I told him no. Because there have been reports that he was supposed to be in the movie.
If you look at Google, it says he's in the cast list.
Yeah. So
okay.
And it says it on his IMDb as well.
Yeah.
So I don't
That's
know
neat.
what.
All right.
Yeah, so I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, like I told him, I was like, don't expect that, because I remember watching the entire movie and thinking, oh, he'll show up. He's gonna show up the entire time, because I saw him on
Stinger.
like when the thing is falling through the castle fortress thing is falling through the sky. I was like, oh, Iron Man will swoop in and catch her.
That would have been the weirdest thing ever.
Yeah, it would have been really weird.
Because in the movie, you already see, like, she's not a super soldier. So all the time.
Are you sure?
Well, yeah, that's what
because I saw her fall from like 30 feet and get up and dust herself off like nothing happened. So you sure she's not a super soldier?
Yeah, or she fell and like hit everything on the way down.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Not a scratch. Not a scratch.
Well, later in the movie, they do show her like changing clothes, and she has like bruises all over down. So to like show, hey, she took damage. But I'm like, there is no way she survives this falling out of the sky thing. And I'm like, but I know she does. So, like, that was the only thing I was like, oh, Tony will swoop in, and that's great. And then it didn't happen, and I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I said the movie was good, but I don't know if I like it.
Interesting.
Yeah, I recognize that it's a good movie, but I still feel like it's a weird. Like, I wish it had taken place in Phase 3 during, the gap where it should have.
Probably should have.
I wish they did Taskmaster correct.
Yeah, that wasn't the greatest.
That's the most disappointing part of the movie, and I think universally that's the case.
Yeah, yeah, and like it did not seem like it was a good farewell to Scarlett Johansson, in my opinion.
I vacillate on that. I would like to give my opinion on this movie. So Rue, you said it's like a mid-tier movie. Would you say it's like, to me, it's like Doctor Strange level?
I like, and even the more I watch it, I actually am probably going to push Doctor Strange up in my rankings.
Okay. Is this like a Thor?
Thor, Ant-Man and the Wasp, maybe. Okay. Again, I gotta watch it again.
Yes.
To like really figure that out. I think I've made my gut decision between her and Captain Marvel. I think Captain Marvel's better, but I also think Captain Marvel is a good movie. I also like Captain Marvel a little better than most. It's weird because gut feeling Thor's better than Captain Marvel, but I also said like Black Widow is Thor is actually a lot higher too. So
okay,
when I say mid tier, it's really tough with the MCU because there's not any bad movies really. So mid tier could be like close to like bottom 7, bottom 8. It's just like there's like for me there's like 2 or 3 films that are like whatever.
Better than Iron Man 2.
I also somewhat enjoy Iron Man 2-ish, but Iron Man 2 is also at the bottom. Like it's also at the bottom for me.
Okay.
Like the only thing, Thor: The Dark World is like the worst, but it's still an okay movie.
Okay.
I guess Iron Man 2's next, but I enjoy it. And then Hulk, Incredible Hulk again is like those are the 3. There's like I enjoy those films, but they're not great.
I don't like watching them again. I would prefer to watch other MCU movies.
And then also about Guardians Volume 2. I just it's just that's a slight step up because it's like with the Yondu stuff. Yes. But the humor just is not. It's just they tried too hard on that film.
Tried very hard.
They tried very hard. Everything after that is considered mid tier to me because I think they're all good movies.
Fair enough.
And it's just hard to get up there. So I'd probably put it around there, like that Ant-Man and the Wasp. That's kind of around. I need to look over there now and see maybe Iron Man 3, but I consider Iron Man 3 better as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I hate.
Yeah, you hate it. You put Iron Man 3 at the bottom. I was gonna say that I agree with you about the beginning. The first 20 minutes, especially, it's like what kind of? I was watching The Americans, like part 2. That's kind of how it seemed to me. I agree with you on Florence Pugh. She's great, My wife and I also agree. Rachel Weisz, pretty damn good in this movie as well. I like the way she plays. She is definitely the antithesis of David Harbour's Red Guardian in this, but I like the way that she plays it off of everybody else, because I think she's kind of like a straight man who
she is.
Everything is like, people are way too fantastical and are too emotional about stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I agree. It's kind of weird. So I like when she's on screen as well. David Harbour, yeah, I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot going on, but you know, he's the one who's pushing for laughs more than anything. Although Florence Pugh's got like stuff in there that's like pretty damn funny overall. Probably the most undertoned funny stuff. I very much liked it. I don't know like how many times I would watch it again necessarily. It's enjoyable, but it's not the most enjoyable. I would agree with you. It's in the middle. It's enjoyable. It's not the most enjoyable. It's pretty good. It's not near the best of these. The end stinger is awesome.
Yes.
And it's a bummer because I forgot about it because it's been such a long time since Falcon and Winter Soldier, honestly. And Julie Louis-Dreyfus came up. I was like, oh shit, yes.
That's exactly what I said. I out loud went, oh shit.
I was like, yes, that's right. She was supposed to be introduced here so that when Falcon and Winter Soldier happened, we were like, it's coming together. Yes. And then I was just kind of backtracked. But I love that stinger. It makes you wonder where Florence Pugh is going to show up. Is she going to show up?
She's got to be. She has to be in Hawkeye.
Has to be in Hawkeye? Okay. I didn't know.
What movie is she going to – what movie coming up would she be in?
Well, I wasn't thinking a movie. I was – yeah, I mean, Hawkeye makes a lot of sense. I was thinking, like, would she show up in a – like, would they do another, like, stinger with, like, Shang-Chi?
They could.
Would they? I mean, I was trying to think of, like, the less fantastical MCU movies coming up. Where could she show up? And I guess that would be kind of the easiest one as opposed to the others. I don't know. But I guess you're right. I guess Hawkeye – I don't – Iron Wars? Could she be in Iron Wars? In the Armor Wars? I guess she could be in that.
Maybe.
But you're right. So overall thoughts, it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I would watch it again. I just don't know how many more times I would watch it after that.
Yeah.
Yep. And
then let's spin it to Loki so that Rue can give his thoughts on Loki before he leaves.
Okay. I don't remember. It's been a blur. I don't remember how much I've actually talked about Loki with y'all yet.
You did like a little bit one time. I think we've only talked once.
So by the end of this with episode 6, Loki to me is the best show out of the 3 with the worst episode out of all the 3.
It's a fair assessment.
I think episode 3 of this show is the most useless waste of time in 3 full seasons of MCU shows. That entire thing, yes, you needed to like get Sylvie and Loki to have the relationship and like to for the end to hit, but they could have chopped that shit up. They could have put like part of 3 into 2 and then melted some of it into 4 and then and built a slightly different episode for 3. 3 was just, it was a waste of time for me. And like, it bothered the hell out of me and how much I'm like, what was that for? And then by the end of episode 4 being like, what the fuck was episode 3 for? I don't understand. But Jonathan Majors is a G. He is absolutely amazing. That finale from the first sound of going through the timeline of the MCU and the MCU all the way to the end, my eyes were glued. My heart was like, and when he came on screen, like it was just more exposition and monologue, but it was so good. He is so good. And that's one version of him for the next 8 years. They're going to be, he is the dude who can do this and then do the serious Kang and do all the millions of different Kangs we're going to get with different personalities. if you've seen this man act in things, he will pull this off. And he pulled that episode off. And I was in glee the entire episode.
Okay.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. So I have a question about this show. So I'm watching it, and did you guys watch the trailer
for the original for Loki?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a scene of Loki, King Loki, and he's getting up off his throne or whatever. And I know there were several people that were like, oh, the last person's going to be a Loki variant because we haven't seen that scene yet. And then Jonathan Majors, and I'm like, ooh, it's going to be King. Like, I'm like, ooh, did they throw that in the trailer just to screw with us?
Yes.
Yeah. And I don't know. And all right, so one other thing. As a person of color, I have a question for you. So Kang is the descendant of Franklin or Reed Richards and Franklin Richards. So at least in the comics, they may not even reference that in the movies. So if they, as a person of color, would you want them to cast a black actor as Reed Richards now?
It depends on what they do, I guess. But on top of that, yeah, he's a descendant of Reed Richards, right? Because Kang is from the future.
Correct.
So, yeah, this is the point where like my non-comic book knowledge comes into play. I really only know Kang off of like peripheral stuff. And like people explain to me who Kang is after a while. I don't really know his stories, but as a descendant like long, there can be an easy explanation.
Yeah, because
like there's people who didn't know I was black. To tell you, so I mean, years and years and years from now, you look at my nephew, you don't know he's my full blood nephew because he's very pale, and my mother was very pale. So like with we don't need it if it's a descendant. We don't need that to happen.
Yeah, because it is like 1,000-year descendant.
Yeah.
But I know how people are gonna be like if they know that fact, and you cast like a pale white dude as Reed Richards, people are gonna freak out.
With the millions of people in the world, somebody, yeah, sure. But I think the fact that like it's 31st century, so 1,000 years in the future, yeah, that's enough time that any possibility can happen, and it could still be a descendant of Reed. So,
how do we know that? Much like not in South Park, where the future everybody is the same race. How do we know that it's just everybody's just looks like him? How do we know? Could be. We don't know.
True.
It's possible.
Yeah. Yeah, because I've been trying to think of black actors who could play Reed Richards, and I'm like, there's so many. Yeah, there are so many.
I think Idris Elba as Reed Richards, like right now.
Well, that one doesn't work because he was Heimdall, right?
Yeah, whatever. I don't care.
Aaron Taylor Johnson's coming back as Kraven, even though that's a weird situation.
Yeah, it still doesn't matter to me. I don't care.
Oh, and so when the timeline started splitting off, so do you think that's how they're gonna explain the Venom movie being in the MCU and the Morbius movie being in the MCU? Is it's off on one of those other branch timelines?
I think they're just not gonna explain anything between Sony and they're just gonna let people go back and forth and not come up with an explanation. They're just gonna be Sony, go do your thing. MCU, go do your thing. If we want to trade off people, let's just like here's Michael Keaton for Morbius. No explanation needed. He's just in there. You know it's him. Here's Evan Peters, but he's somebody else. I don't think they're going to make an explanation.
Boner.
They're just going to go. They're just going to have two different places. Sometimes they'll meet. Sometimes they won't.
Yeah. You talked about Colton, the Loki variant. I was sitting there watching this last episode. I was like, Kang's kind of like the god of mischief. He's kind of very mischievous right now, and he's jumping around, and he's doing these voices, and I was like, he's kind of like a Loki. He's kind of like a traditional like Norse god Loki, as opposed to the Loki that we know, which is great. I loved it. I mean, I know people are like, it was just an exposition dump, and it was just them talking in a room. I was like, so still be compelling. I was not compelled by Sylvie and Loki's whatever to the point where she pushes them away. I was very interested in how it is that they were explaining things, and they did it in a way that didn't seem to talk down to me, but was at least plausible enough that I could wrap my head around it. And that's.
I will tell you, I actually felt the fight in the kiss. I felt it. Like at that point, I think I was so intrigued with the whole episode. This was the first time a fight didn't seem choreographed. Felt like a good fight. And like the whole you don't trust and I can't be trusted. I actually enjoyed everything. I think this is the first time everything was hitting on all cylinders for me.
Yeah, until the kiss, and then I was a little grossed out because that's like the most extreme form of masturbation right there.
But that's Loki. Loki is the most extreme form of masturbation.
It's true in many different ways, not just the literal way. So,
and not even in the MCU and just all mythology in general. Loki is just all into themselves, 100%. Loki would be the character or the thing being that would kiss themselves, easy.
And you know, it's funny where you mentioned like that episode 3 is the worst. I was thinking back because I was trying to remember all the episodes of WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I can't think of one off the top of my head that I was like, wow, they really didn't need that. I mean, there are parts in those shows that I'm like, that seems superfluous and stuff. Boner, to name one. Yeah, but it's just parts, not an episode that I'm like, oh, we need to cut this because it was totally extraneous. No, that was the one of
that was one. But this is like, for me, it was the biggest turnaround I've ever seen because 4, 5, and 6 were just better and better and better.
It did get better, yeah.
And 6 was just amazing. What I'll leave off of is I don't like making conjectures, but I like to think that at first I thought the What If series was just going to be its own little thing. I am now like, nope, What If is still a part of everything because of what just happened.
Yes.
Yeah. This is how Feige's mind works. That like up until 2 weeks before the show, I just thought What If was let's just do a What If because it's fun. No, it's reality now. It's like in with everything else because Loki just made all of these infinite timelines. So now What If has a reason to exist. And I was just like, I see you. But I thought this episode was brilliant. I thought it was absolutely again, this season has had the worst episode of all the MCU so far, TV wise, and the best episode of all the MCU TV wise. So far, I think 6 is better than anything I've seen in Falcon and Winter Soldier and WandaVision.
Okay.
To me,
I forget which episode of WandaVision I really enjoyed. I think it was like 3 or 4. I think it's 4 when they introduce Evan Peters at the end. I think I really, really like that episode because I think it hits a lot of emotional beats. But I can't remember it offhand because it's been a minute.
It's been a minute. I just don't think. See, for me, just for those two, I think the end got me in WandaVision. Just the end from second one to the time it ended. It got me from the second I was into that episode. Like, so that's why I consider it the best. But I do got to get out of here. I pushed it past to 5 or 10 minutes. So always fun, gentlemen. I will see y'all next week, I believe. I never know what I'm doing in summer sometimes. So,
well, you probably won't see me because it's I won't be around because it's a special weekend for me.
Have fun. I'll see you on the tubes because I'll be watching all that anyway. You have 50-minute matches.
Well, yes, I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, y'all.
Bye, Rube.
Peace.
All right, so I want to move back to talking about Black Widow for a few minutes.
Okay, sweet.
All right, so I've watched it twice.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so I have a few questions. There were some things about Loki that I also want to talk about. that I knew we had, Rue needed to leave, so I knew I didn't want to get fully into it because this will probably be like a 20-25 minute discussion between both topics.
Okay.
So, Red Guardian, the entire movie, he's talking about knowing Captain America and stuff, but we know that Captain America was frozen during that time.
Yes.
So does that in turn also confirm the idea that old Cap has been in this timeline the entire time, and that is the Captain America that he met up with? Or did he meet up with Isaiah Bradley and antagonize him, and he's just been in prison and doesn't know that Isaiah Bradley's not the Captain America on that they're talking about?
I think it's neither. And I don't think it can be Isaiah Bradley because Isaiah Bradley was in prison around the times that he was talking about when he was meeting, like hanging out or like at blows with Captain America in the 80s. I think Isaiah Bradley was in prison at that time. So I don't think it was him. I think he's just a liar. I think he's the dude who makes up stories to make himself seem more important.
Yeah, but then he asked Black Widow, does Cap ever talk about me? And I'm just like, why would you ask that if it's not a real thing?
Well, I mean, I think he asks that because he doesn't want to. I think it just plays into the mythology that he built around it. He might. It's quite possible that the USSR super soldier serum messed with his brain chemistry.
Yeah, or that he's been lying to himself for so long that now he believes it.
Yes, that's what I mean.
But yeah, like, so I was like, ooh, that could be interesting. If it was Isaiah Bradley, then I was like, that's cool. And of course, this movie was supposed to come out before Falcon and Winter Soldier, so they wouldn't have brought it up directly. They would just said, ooh, Captain America. And then once you've seen Falcon and the Winter Soldier, you're going to be like, ooh, it was Isaiah Bradley. But also, if the theory about there only being one timeline is correct, it could be that he encountered old Cap at some point when he wasn't so old and fought him. And then old Cap was like, yeah, you're going to have to keep this a secret. And he was like, oh, yeah, I'll totally do that. And then just told people about it. And people just rub him off because they're like, he's not alive. Come on, dude. But I don't know.
No, I don't think there's an underlying thing there that they're, and not one that they would play into. I think it was just a running joke that they wanted to do, and that he really lied to himself so much that he believes these things.
Yeah. And then that makes me wonder if during the time that Bucky was being the Winter Soldier, did he ever come in contact with Red Guardian?
I bet.
They were both super soldiers that were, for different governments.
Based in Russia?
Yeah.
Yeah. I bet they did. But I bet, Bucky was incognito, and I bet Red Guardian wasn't aware. Because technically it was Hydra versus the Russian government, right? And that's separate. Yeah. So they probably only crossed paths in the field. They probably didn't cross paths in like a boardroom where they were hanging out talking about what it is that the Russian government would do to bring down S.H.I.E.L.D. in America.
Yeah, and especially like they talk about how he stole something from the S.H.I.E.L.D. base, but now knowing that and then they were like, well, it was actually a Hydra base. We just didn't know that at the time.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, so he could have encountered Bucky. Like, Bucky could have been like, they could have awakened Bucky to be like, yeah, go back and get that. And Bucky just didn't succeed or whatever.
You just brought up a point that I want to bring up with you. Will this be the final movie or show where they will make that joke that it was a S.H.I.E.L.D. thing? Well, really, it was a Hydra thing.
Oh, absolutely not. I think they'll...
Damn it.
Yeah.
I'm over it. I'm over it now. I was fine with it, like, up till Endgame. And I watched this one, and I was like, that doesn't hit me anymore. I don't give a shit about it.
Yeah, because, you're right. In Endgame, they have the entire moment where they're like, well, that's S.H.I.E.L.D. I mean, I guess it was Hydra, but we didn't know that at the time.
How did you not know? These guys look like bad guys. Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess they only did that in there so that when Cap goes Hail Hydra in the next scene, that it's a big moment that you already introduced the fact that, oh, these people are Hydra for the people that probably didn't remember that they were Hydra. So when you see the elevator scene and he goes Hail Hydra, the fans who aren't super fans like us remember all that stuff. But yeah. So I liked Taskmaster until the moment where they revealed, like, even if they revealed that, oh, it's his daughter, that's cool. Like, if they just changed the character's gender, that would have been fine. But the fact that it's not the same character, which means, it could be like the Mandarin situation. In 10 years, they bring out the real Taskmaster. Yeah. And, I mean, that's fine, I guess, if they decide to do that. But I liked everything that they were Taskmaster did, like the Black Panther into the Spider-Man, into posing like Black Widow, into throwing the shield like Cap. Like, all of that stuff was great. And
that's where it ended.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think anybody really, and not from what I read or whatever, but, liberal media and whatnot, and I say that jokingly, of course, but I don't think anybody had an issue with Taskmaster being a woman. I think it was just the idea that Taskmaster didn't really have control of what Taskmaster was doing, so they were a puppet. And people don't like bad guys who are puppets, not really. Slappy from Goosebumps, that's... And the one, who's it, Mr. Big from Batman, the animated series? Those are the only two times when people like puppets as villains. Otherwise, they don't. I think it more had to do with that they didn't really have a soul. They didn't have free will and choices. So I think that's what the problem was.
Yeah. Yeah, it's but yeah, like I said, I thought it was a good movie. I just am not sure if I liked it. Like, I liked the fact that Florence Pugh, which, by the way, until I've watched YouTube videos, I have never pronounced that last name correct.
What did you think it was, Pug?
Yeah, I've always thought it was Pug and that the H was silent.
No.
And then I heard people say it, and I'm like, ooh, all right, that makes sense. Like,
you didn't have a YouTube show when you were doing that.
Yeah, which means there is a person that I know personally who that's their last name, and I've called them Pug for their entire. And now I'm like, have to apologize.
Kudos to them for being polite to you all those years.
Yeah. But yeah, so I thought the movie was good. I understand that it's a good movie. Like, it's not like Incredible Hulk. Nope, I don't like it, and I don't think it's good. I like it's the same way I like Iron Man 2, but I understand why people don't like it. Yeah, and like, I hate Iron Man 3, but I understand why people would like Iron Man 3.
Okay.
But I cannot. But yeah, like, so, I mean, film's subjective, so.
What did you think about because I saw this come up in a Facebook thing about all the best shots of Black Widow were just body shots of Scarlett Johansson, which was, there's like a whole montage you could make of that, even just from this movie.
I don't know. I
because there were a lot. Because my wife made a comment, and I was like, "This is directed by a woman." I mean, it's not like the Jon Favreau Iron Man 2 thing, which they've talked about overly sexualizing Black Widow. This is done for Black Widow's story, but there's a lot of pan up shots from the backside.
Yeah. No, I didn't really think about that, but you're absolutely right.
There's a lot. There's at least a dozen.
Yeah, and then like, I think it's weird that at the end of this movie, nothing really changes except that she has the vest.
She changes her, like there's
Yeah,
a part at the beginning where she's at the safe house, which is really a trailer, and she has the blonde hair dye, and I was like, oh, they put that in there just to remind you that she will be going blonde because that's how we see her in Infinity War.
yeah, and then she gets the vest,
Yeah.
and I'm like, so that's the real until the end credit scene. That's the real takeaway from this movie is the hair and the vest.
So I know obviously Chris Evans wasn't going to be in it, but I thought because she went to Norway that there was a Thor-ish possibility. I thought there would be some sort of Norse god mentions and she was in, Scandinavia, but they didn't do that. And then when she gets the Quinjet like thing at the end, I was like, will they make a mention about it? Just seemed weird to me that she's off on her own like for that long. Like, how does she figure out where to pick up Captain America, Falcon?
Yeah, which is
Witch
weird
and-
because this all takes place between the conversation and between her and Tony whenever she attacks. He says that Ross is coming for her, and between this movie takes place between that moment and when Steve breaks the other ones out of the raft. So it's like a 5-day separation or something, and that's when this movie takes place. And that's crazy.
So, like, did she get word on the wire and then she showed up to get them out of the raft? Did she take Steve? Did she find where Steve was and take him to the raft? What? Yeah. I want to know kind of that in-between part. The logistics of it seem very strange to me.
Yeah, and that's the reason why, like, I was thinking the entire time, like, the fortress in the sky, I thought, oh, when they land on it, I thought, oh, it's going to have the helicarrier technology and it's going to go invisible, and that makes sense. But it's just up there, like in the atmosphere, below atmosphere level. Yeah. So satellites would be able to see it. You would think. And so that's the reason why I thought, oh, if it's fallen, Tony's out there somewhere, still in his Iron Man suit. He's gonna help because I saw that he was in it on IMDb, and I was like, okay. And then he's not, and I was like, oh,
maybe he filmed something and they cut it.
Yeah, that's
wanted them to cut it. Maybe, and by the way, I refer to that fortress as like the helicarrier Legion of Doom because it's like the helicarrier. Legion of Doom's like the Hall of Justice, but it's not because it's a piece of shit. It's in the swamp. That's how I think of that technology. It's like the helicarrier, but it's the Legion of Doom version because it's evil and it really isn't as flashy and doesn't really hold up as well. But yeah, I mean, at certain point, I know you told me he wasn't in it. I really didn't see a part where it made a lot of sense where he could insert himself. So I was fine with it.
Yeah. Okay. So now to move back to Loki. I really like this season. I'm glad there's going to be a season 2 because I have so many questions.
It's interesting because I thought maybe a lot of questions would get answered in the subsequent shows / movies.
Yeah, and apparently he's supposed to be Tom Hiddleston's going to be in Doctor Strange 2. So, yeah, so
okay.
I don't know what's happening there. If he's going to be in that, obviously, and then Kang's going to be in Quantumania.
Yes.
So,
and who knows how much else? We just know that particular one. Maybe he shows up in Multiverse of Madness too, because the person who wrote this show wrote Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
So there could be crossovers in that. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and then and this makes me feel like, have you heard the rumors about No Way Home?
No.
About who's appearing in it?
You mean besides the obvious ones?
Yeah.
No, I don't think I know what you're talking about.
Okay, well, I was talking about the obvious ones.
Yeah. Doc, Alfred Molina and Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst.
Yeah, and then Jamie Foxx as Electro.
Yes.
Okay, so those four, they are obviously in different Sony universes. If they're going to be, in this movie, I'm trying to think. All right, so Spider-Man 2, he falls in the water and you don't see him again.
Yeah.
So he could pop through a wormhole and
his self-sustaining energy thing could have opened up any manner of dark matter hole that allowed him to travel through the universe. We have no idea.
Yeah, and then Electro, he just explodes, right?
Yes, they overload him at the power plant or whatever the hell.
Okay, so he could have exploded and then reformed somewhere, or exploded and it tore something and he gone.
He could have been like Mike TV, where he just exploded into a million pieces and those pieces worked across an electrical current somewhere and he reformed somewhere else. I mean,
yeah,
he was pure energy at some point, right? So
yeah, so it could be that they ignore Spider-Man 3, which
why wouldn't you?
Yeah. And
although I would like to see Thomas Hayden Church get another go with better writing.
Yes. I agree. Actually, and I would like redemption for Topher Grace too.
No, he doesn't get. He doesn't want it. He doesn't want it. He's fine with it
because that entire thing ruined the 8th season of That 70s Show, which we talked about last week, and I have finished, and it's awful. So if that movie hadn't happened, the 8th season might have been okay.
Okay.
So I want redemption for Topher Grace. Maybe not even as he could be Toxin for all I care. He doesn't have to be Venom. But yeah, so that would be fine. But and then Andrew Garfield, if he knows that Electro is out there, and I don't know what he's doing with. I mean, I guess in that universe, Dane DeHaan is in prison, so he could have hopped through the wormhole going after Electro, and then boop, hey, there's 3 Spider-Men, and then we get that meme where it's all the Spider-Men pointing to each other.
You mean like Spider-Verse? You mean like that? Yes.
Yeah. So we could get that, and this makes me wonder, where does Far From Home fall in the timeline? Because
it's supposed to be 8 months after WandaVision, right?
Yeah. But I'm wondering where it falls in the timeline with Loki, because obviously, Quentin Beck talks about the multiverse.
Yeah, but he's a freaking liar too.
Yeah, he's a liar, but he knows that a multiverse is there, and Talos.
Talos
agrees. So, and now we've seen in Loki that a multiverse is actually out there. So, is this or is this post season 1 of Loki, or what? I don't. And we have J. Jonah Jameson
in 2012, right? Technically.
Yeah.
So I think Far From Home's the latest thing. No, well, sorry. I think Falcon and Winter Soldier is the latest thing.
Yeah.
For right now.
And we have J. Jonah Jameson as.
Yeah, but his hair didn't come with him.
That's true.
We don't know where that went.
Yeah. But
he needs to find another barber he can trust in the multiverse.
Yes. But yeah, it's really interesting. I can't wait for season 2 of Loki.
No, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, we talked about last week how I thought that What If was going to be a sequence of the timeline exploding in Loki, and I'm guessing that's actually the case. And I know Rue said that he didn't like episode 3.
I don't like it either.
in the context of the show, I like it a lot. As a standalone, like if it was released all together, episode 3 would be fine.
Yeah,
but
because
the fact that we
you
waited 2 weeks for plot is no good.
No, it's it's really a pointless episode.
Yeah, except to build up the relationship between
That's
Loki and
yeah,
Sylvie.
like everything that happens around them is stupid.
Yep, and I guess it impacts that kiss a little bit, and her like pushing him through the thing.
But yeah, I questioned that at first, and I was like, wait, didn't she give her temp pad to Mobius? And then she's like, oh, he used his. Okay, great, wonderful, fantastic.
Yeah, yeah, I still
talk
think
about the end. Can we talk about the end?
Oh yes.
Okay. So was the idea of that because the multiverse is branching as it is, it's like he talked about his universes kind of overlapping as their Rick and Morty interdimensional traveling technology was going underway, like universes overlapping on top of one another. Is that's what's happening here as the multiverse extends, I assume?
Yeah, that's what I assume as well, and that since time works differently in the TVA, I'm guessing all of that has been rewritten, and that the Loki or our Loki in that version of the TVA was just an analyst, which is the reason why Mobius is just like, "What's going on? You're an analyst, right?" And they're like, and then instead of the
he didn't know. I assume he looked at how he was dressed and was like, "Oh, so you're an ant." I don't think he knew Loki at all. I don't know if Loki in the TVA, in that version.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. But yeah, I think it's this version of Kang is going to be the one that they call the Conqueror, and I like that. The one that's over the TVA officially now with statues and everything. But who can really say?
Who can say?
I still think WandaVision is a better overall show. At least the 9 episodes of WandaVision, I think, are better than the 6 episodes of Loki.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, WandaVision got nominated for like 7 Emmys or whatever.
Yep.
All the 3 main actors all got nominated. I hope at least one of them wins. I think Catherine Hahn could win. I don't think Paul Bettany really has a shot, and I want Elizabeth Olsen to win because I think she deserves it, but she won't beat Kate Winslet for the mayor of Easttown. I just don't think that's going to happen. So, yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking, I cannot remember who is the Queen's Gambit.
You talking about Anya Taylor-Joy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
her either. She could win too. I'm just saying, like, Elizabeth Olsen doesn't really have a shot.
Yeah, no, I want Elizabeth Olsen to win so bad. Like
she's the best actor. She did the best acting job in that show. Catherine Hahn's great because Catherine Hahn can do so much. But in terms of, like, if you put acting in a book or on a pedestal to view as a thing of its own volition, she was the best.
Yep. But yeah, so overall, I think it's WandaVision, then Loki, and then Falcon and the Winter Soldier for me.
Fair enough. I think. Remember when Rue was talking about how Deception doesn't have a B player? They just have A players. I wanted to make a joke that I was going to say, well, on any given day, one of them is steak sauce and the other one is not, because one would be A1 and one would be not. That's a roundabout way of saying, in my opinion, Loki and WandaVision are basically neck and neck to me. And Falcon and Winter Soldier is a distant third, but not so distant that it makes me question the time that I spent watching it. It just had to do different things, right? It had to do different things, and it had a different universe that it could play in, as opposed to the other two, and it hamstrung it a little bit.
Yeah, but I think once season 2 comes out, because I assume it will only be a 2-season show.
I don't think you can do more than that. It would be crazy if they.
So once we look at the completed show, and the completed show, then I'll be able to determine that more on which I think is better.
Do you think the others will get other seasons?
No, they've already said WandaVision is not, and Falcon and Winter Soldier is being picked up in the next Captain America movie.
Okay, I don't believe the WandaVision thing. And the reason I don't believe it is because we still haven't seen Doctor Strange and how she is in Doctor Strange. I believe there is a situation where, because of that, depending on how that works out, that if there's a situation where they could bring her and Vision back together after that, if she's still alive or whatever the hell, that they would consider doing a WandaVision season 2.
Yeah, and they do have White Vision out there.
Yeah, he's I wanted to do the dirty joke of what people call him, but I'm not going to do it. Yeah, he's still floating around in the periphery. What? He is.
Yes, and I think I get what you mean now.
I didn't come up with the dirty name for him. I just heard it in reviews, is all.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I got it. It took me a minute, but
Good. Glad you got it.
But yeah, so yeah, it was it's a very interesting show. I can't wait for What If, and I cannot wait for Hawkeye. Now that Florence Pugh is going to be in that, and I'm just like, they're doing the Dark Avengers, I suspect.
Young Avengers too.
Yeah. And it's gonna be a good time. But yeah,
How about Miss Marvel?
Yeah, I'm excited about that one as well, but it's the one I'm least excited about.
How about Armor Wars? I brought that one up.
Oh, I am not excited about that one at all. But also, I don't think that one. Yeah, yeah, I'm not really. No.
How about She-Hulk with Tatiana Maslany?
Yeah, and then of course, Mark Ruffalo is going to be in it, so that will be good.
I guess he got paid a lot of money for that.
Yeah, and it's going to be weird because they obviously are going to have to animate him as Professor Hulk the entire time.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying he probably got paid a lot of money to agree to do that.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think. I don't think I'm super excited. Like, I'm excited for what we're going to see. Like, all of this stuff is happening, and it's going to be great. But I'm really ready for it. But I'm glad we get a little bit of a break. We get like a 4-week break?
Yeah, to What If.
Yep, until What If, and then
how do we know how many episodes What If is?
8, I think.
8. So that will take us basically to Shang-Chi, right? Virtually.
It'll take us past Shang-Chi.
Okay, because Shang-Chi's in September.
Yeah.
Okay, so that will take us almost up to the point past Shang-Chi, almost up to Eternals.
Yep. Yeah, it will run us into Eternals, and then
there's like 6 weeks from there to No Way Out, No Way Home.
Yeah, No Way Home, and then of course, I mean, I'm gonna be excited for Book of Boba Fett because
I heard it's great. I heard it's dark and grimy, even grimier than The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
According to Robert Rodriguez, the man himself. So.
Yeah, and then I mean, the Bad Batch ends soon. And speaking of which, hey, you out there, you could have fast forwarded all the way to this part, but we're gonna talk about the Bad Batch now. And so what did you think of the Bad Batch?
I enjoyed it. It was a very fun episode. I don't have the same connection with like Hera and Chopper that you do because I didn't watch the other shows yet. But I did enjoy it as like a more adding to the story of the Bad Batch being a family unit, where we got that moment about. I thought Omega was great in this episode, right? Because she had a couple of those moments. She had the moment of like, isn't this what soldiers do? They put their lives on the line for everybody whenever there's a distress. And Hunter's like, oh, I guess you're right. Even though technically they're not soldiers anymore, they're mercenaries. And then, when it seems like doesn't matter how much they're going to get paid, they want to vamoose. And she's like, I would do this even if the odds are stacked against us. I would do this for you as a family. And then what's Cham's wife's name? Hera. It's
I cannot remember.
It's like Elaine. It's something like that. And when she talks about how the fight's going to affect them, meaning the Bad Batch, at some point as it's affecting all of us, I did enjoy that as like everything's sort of pushing more them together as this family unit as we know them, which I very much enjoyed. The action was pretty good. I thought the action's been better in other things. There wasn't a lot of it, obviously. I did like Hauser. I thought Hauser was like, he's how the Bad Batch kind of works in between, like they're the people who work in the shadows at this point. I like Hauser's like the dude who stands up and is like, not taking any more of this. Who's going to join me? And not everybody joined him, and that was the unfortunate part because they all got arrested. They're like political prisoners now, which is hilarious. And then the best part is that, Crosshair's like, I'm going after them. Let's freaking go. And I'm like, yes, please. We have 4 episodes left?
Yep.
So we need to get them together. We need more conflict.
Yeah, and I'm guessing there's going to be a season 2. I
would bet.
Because they still have the entire Kaminoan plot that they're going off of.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to shoehorn that in the next handful.
Yeah, unless like the episodes are all like the first episode and it's like hour-long little thing. And it's not going to be that. So, yeah, like I thought the episode was good. I liked the connection to Hera. But I thought the entire time, and I know I thought this, and Alex Damon thought this, because Hera's mom dies sometime between here and Rebels, and that's the thing that breaks Hera and her dad up, because Hera believes, hey, it was your war that killed mom. And I thought she was going to get shot and killed this entire episode. So I was like, I was stressing about it the entire time. I was like, she's going to get killed.
Yeah.
And then I thought, hey, well, Hera will go off on her own. Or her and Chopper may join the Bad Batch and them until they drop her off somewhere. And then if they just so happen to drop her off on whatever planet it is that Kanan eventually lands on, then that will be like, and then that's how they meet and they like fall in love and crap. And I was like, okay, that'd be cool. But now we just have to, it's going to be in the shadows that if we see Hera again, every time I'll think about, I'll be like, ooh, is their mom dead?
Yeah.
We know it's coming, or I know it's coming. But yeah, I liked it. I felt so sorry for Hauser. I was just like, oh man, they don't trust you. And if they had trusted you in the prison cell, you may not have had to get arrested.
No, because he would have went out and found Hera, and he probably would have just. Well, I don't know. He probably still would have went back. I don't know. It's a good point, though. Things could have been different. Can I ask you a thing about Chopper?
Yes.
I noticed that in the credits, it says as himself Chopper. And I don't really know what that means. Does that mean like they don't have a human doing his sounds? Like there's a sound effects person who makes the Chopper sounds, so thus he is himself?
So it was a long joke for Rebels that he just played himself. And I think in the season finale, it's revealed that Dave Filoni plays Chopper. But so maybe they're just continuing with that joke because this technically is in canon before that. But I don't exactly remember if that's actually the case or not. But I know that's something. But
Okay.
yeah, okay, yeah, it's yeah, Dave Filoni is the one that voices Chopper, but I assume it's because of that little inside joke thing that they don't want to ruin that for people.
Okay.
But yeah, like I like the episode. Like we talked about, this show has always been like it's been my Friday show, and it's been worse, or it's not been as good as my Wednesday show.
Mhm.
And the one week that it was better was episode 3 of Loki.
Yes.
And now it's going to be like, ooh, now I have to wait all week before I get to watch.
What are you going to do to fill the time, man? What are you going to do to fill
Well,
the time?
I told my kids, because now they saw Black Widow with me, so I told them we would watch all the Marvel TV shows. So we're gonna start with WandaVision next week and watch all of it together. I'm not gonna deprive them of making them. Hey, what do you think's gonna happen next? No, we're just gonna watch it all, and then Falcon and the Winter Soldier, watch all that all, and then watch all of Loki. So that
Let me know how that rewatch goes. Like,
well, I most definitely
very
will.
curious.
Yeah, yeah, I still think Bad Batch is good. Like they called each other. She called him their brothers.
Yes.
Or yeah, her brothers. And now it makes me even wonder even more is if they're going to do the bounty hunter plot with Finnick wanting to keep her away from all the other bounty hunters.
Mhm.
Like Boba is going to show up.
I think at some point. Yeah.
And since I think there's only going to be one season of the Book of Boba Fett, if he's going to show up, I think he's going to. If he shows up, it will be this season.
Yeah.
Because if for somehow he's like, I'm your actual brother, and the Kaminoans are going to try and take your DNA, I also have the DNA. I can protect you, and I will protect you. They're going to do that before, if she shows up in the Bad Batch. They're obviously going to do it before she shows up in Book of Boba Fett.
Mm-hmm.
So unless they just like she like declines the offer or some, like I wonder if we could actually like my ideal situation would be if we watch the Book of Boba Fett and we see the Bad Batch in it, and it's Sylvester Stallone playing Hunter. That would be the best. That would be like I would.
Sylvester Stallone doesn't look like you're talking about Sylvester Stallone from the '80s. Looks like
Yeah, but I mean they could de-age him.
They could, but I doubt it would work out very well.
Yeah, but I mean also this is like 30 years after what we're talking about now, so he could play himself at his current age and be Hunter because they age at the rate that we age.
Mm-hmm.
So, or if not a little faster, since they're genetically engineered or whatever. So he could play himself being Hunter, and just everyone would know that that's the whatever.
That's wishful thinking, bud. But I understand.
Yeah. But yeah, like, because I don't want the Bad Batch to die. Nope. I mean, since we don't see him or hear about him in Rebels, so unless they go in hiding somewhere, they obviously don't encounter Rex again.
Mm-hmm.
But or at least I don't think they do. So if they align themselves with Boba and they'd still continue to do the mercenary thing, they could do that. Or they could do, like, what was his name in episode 2 or 3? The clone that's just out there being a farmer.
Oh, I don't remember that dude's name.
Yeah, I also do not, but they could do something like that, and then it'd be fine.
1 and 2 are so far in the back of my head that I don't think about them at all and don't remember much about it. So,
But do you think they'll save Crosshair before the end of the season?
no. I think that will lead to like a season 2 arc. Probably makes more sense for a season 2 arc at this point.
Yeah, because I mean that's Omega's brother too, and she said she's gonna look out for him, and that's her brother too. So
True.
I mean, but I agree that would be a great like season 2 thing. Of, yep. But yeah, I guess that's all I gotta say about that, and we're gonna go ahead and cross into the farewell portion. Thank you, Robert. I know you said you probably would not be on next week.
Yes, next week it is my birthday weekend. I will be away, so I will not be available for this, unfortunately.
Okay, so I am going to try to. I'm gonna push back the entire us getting to talk about Fantastic Beast, and I will figure that out. But yeah, so that will be fun. And then I won't get to talk about the Bad Batch next week.
Oh,
I don't know what I'm going to talk about. That's going to be very interesting out there. At
SuperNova Show. Come up with ideas. The SuperNova Show fans, all handful of you, come up with an idea for what Colton can do when he has no guests.
Yeah.
Or no, you'll have Rue. You'll have Rue to talk down with. So.
Yeah, but we'll talk about a situation that's coming up off air in just a second. But I know. Do you have anything you want to plug?
Same stuff, you know. All the leagues, more matches are coming out by the week. So I just filmed another one on Thursday night. So that was a really fun one. I don't know when that will come out, but look out for it whenever it does. That will be in multiplex. Yeah, and at Robert Kastner on Facebook. That's where I'm at.
Yep, and you can follow me on Twitter at ColtonRoberts8 and follow the show at @supernova_show. My children and I took the last 2 weeks off of the personal channel, so we're gonna hit it really good. We're gonna release 3 episodes apiece this coming up week, so we're gonna rock it out for the next 6 days to like make up for the time we missed. I know you got the 5 people that watch my personal channel. Thank you. I know you've probably been missing me a whole lot, but yeah, this was good. Thank you for coming on. I always appreciate it. And
like I said, it always kicks off my weekend, so very happy to be here.
All right. I guess that's us signing out.
Don't forget to tip your virtual waitress.
There we go.